Hello, dear brothers and sisters in the world. Today we are back again with part 9 of Enoch 1 Square Earth model together with Sam. And we will go through some memes of the Enoch 1 book. And I'm here with Sam, as I say. So, Sam, come in. Thank you for being here. And let's start, my mate.
All right, mate. Well, g'day to you, Mono, and welcome to anybody and everybody that presses play on the video. Um, I'd like to, again, thank Mono for his effort. We're both sort of a little bit under the weather at the moment. I've got pretty badly damaged muscle underneath my shoulder blade that is giving me a lot of hurry up. And Mono, he's had his own fair share of dramas. So we've had a couple of quiet days just trying to look after ourselves. But I'm glad to be back now. And I look forward to having a good yarn with you, mate.
Yeah, welcome, mate. Let's do it again. Okay,
Mm.
I have a picture from you here. You made some memes again, and I will read
Yep.
this picture, and then you can talk about it. I think. Okay.
Well, just let me just get this out of the way first. And this is on the group today. I was asked by Christina L. that what my thoughts are on Jordan Maxwell. And at the time, I didn't really want to answer on the group because one, I don't like typing because you could on this particular topic you could type a small book. Where this way it's much easier to get my thoughts, and you can join in too, Mono, as we both were just talking just previous before we started recording. But Jordan Maxwell. I look at this whole situation of this last century and previous I mean, I know that through understanding Enoch 1 and the cosmology, I mean, you can go right back to the last attack that we know of on the Tower of the Sun coming in here, the laser coming in. That's the tower. Well, that's the Tower of Babel. Um, you can go right back because you've got the Pythagoreans, the mathematical geniuses, trying to invent all of this forbidden knowledge to create a ball. Well, then, first of all, they went to a flat circle, which found its way through to the Veda or Vedic system. Um, so you had the Pythagoreans, then you had the Eratosthenes, who had their two sticks in the ground and reckon that the shadows prove, hundreds of millions of miles away sun on a ball, which is just absolutely ridiculous. That's been totally debunked without any question, shadow of a doubt. So then let's leapfrog through it. You get to the early 1900s. And I know as I went back through my research, I think I'd done a pretty good job with my research. I was very diligent. I researched everything. And one of the things that I came across was the Tunguska event in northern Russia. And I would encourage everyone, I think it was 1908, that there was a massive electromagnetic blast, whereby it was more that something had fallen to Earth of electromagnetic nature. Now, this event left a crater in the ground, probably 150 foot across and maybe 40, 50 foot deep. And the trees all around that crater laid perfectly, like magnetism, and they laid perfectly for quite a few hundred meters all around this crater. Now, obviously, there's nothing in the crater. There was no meteorite. There's there's nothing, none of this. It was an electromagnetic blast. Now, people, you see all of this symbology all around in the movies, and it's everywhere. Shoes, everywhere. Bolt of lightning, a bolt of lightning. Now, you don't have to be super smart to realise that somebody was going to be sent to Earth, fall to Earth like a bolt of lightning. Well, this happened in 1908. And from 1908, we had the First World War, which bounced on mankind. I can't even remember. I think it was about 1914, 1913.
Yeah,
So you're only...
14, 18.
Okay, 1914. So you're only talking 6 years from the Tunguska event, that our First World War. And everything has turned up and sped up at an extreme rate ever since that event. Now, when you're talking about Jordan Maxwell, I personally am of the belief, and I think it's well grounded, that this system will not allow truth, real truth. And they have, and I believe you'll find that right from the very onset of this last century, especially like the 19th century, all of the orphanages and all of the orphans caused by war and just a disastrous social system, these orphanages were the perfect place to recruit an MK Ultra people for future positions of influence of society. And I've seen it now wherever you get this triangle within a circle. See, and I mean, I know with, you can look at Alcoholics Anonymous, got a circle with a triangle in the middle. You can go to Scientology. See, I think Alcoholics Anonymous was in 1935. It was started, and I think it was started with all the best intentions of the Most High, to be honest with you. The 12 steps are a perfect way of repairing the human spirit. But then it was in 1945 that Ron J. Hubbard of Scientology come on and have a guess what? They've got a circle with a triangle in it. And it's all about the builders, the secret societies, the occult, and I'm totally of the belief it's the fallen angels occult is the best way that you can describe it. They've invented a million different chapters of it, organizations of it, but really at the peak of it all, it's the fallen angels occult, where they use mankind to do their dirty work. Now, so you get to Jordan Maxwell. They went through Operation Fishbowl. You went through the Second World War. You went through the creation of NASA from the Nazis. You then find yourself, I'm getting a bit of pain, then you find yourself Nazis, Fishbowl. You find yourself in a position then of all of the other, it's been a massive building system in that last century. And Jordan Maxwell, he came along, oh, sheesh, he probably came, well, I've watched all his stuff, and he would talk about seeing aliens in underground at, I can't think of the name of the base, it's running through my head, and this sort of thing. And then when he was talking, he was like the instigator of that line of half-truth. Very passionate man, but still, was he showing what Enoch 1 can show of truth? I think that what they want to do is create that false dichotomy between two opposing forces, where Jordan would use a lot of Jesuit information and pit the Jesuits against the Roman Catholics, or the Jesuits against the Lutheran, or the Seventh-day Adventists, and he would do a lot of this false dialectrics of confusing the brain, cognitive dissonance. But he maybe give 50% truth, 60% truth. But was it harmful truth? No, it wasn't harmful at all. It was just something to occupy the human mind. Oh, he's good. But the real truth, you won't hear about. And this is something that I've found personally with Enoch 1, that what they've done to Enoch 1, the cosmology that we've uncovered, but also his book is, that was what I was going to say. Then they found the Dead Sea Scrolls in Qumran, just happened to be kept in a nice little jar in some caves in 1945. So you've got this whole set of events that started with the Tunguska event. And all of a sudden, you've got 2 books that were found of Enoch's, supposedly, and I don't believe that for a second, because one Enoch, which was found in the Ethiopian Bible, was, I think ours that we use is 1883. So, it's quite a distance in front of all of these major events that just seem to ramp up from Tunguska. And there was 3 chapters missing out of that particular translation. So you get back through to Jordan, and I think you'll find this is all staged. Oh, another thing that I was going to say was with, what was the name of that guy that went down to Antarctica after the Second World War?
Admiral Byrd.
Well, Admiral Byrd. And all of a sudden you've got Admiral Byrd coming back, getting interviewed, and he's sitting on his bum right in front of an azimuthal equidistant map, a flattened Earth, a flattened globe. And everybody says, look at that, it's right in your face, No, it's not. All that is just how clever these guys are that we're dealing with. They put it there because they knew that they were going to be using it in 60 years' time, 80 years' time. They knew that because they knew that they would have to go back to the Vedic, because Vedic was the prototype for the ball. They went from the square to Vedic to the ball. All they've done with circle flat Earth is go back to the Vedic, which is worse than the ball. But people don't think. So going back to Maxwell, he's just another player in this last century. If anything is allowed to be put on camera, and if they push it to the point of millions of views, then you can bet your bottom dollar that it's just an act. It's a play. It's part of the overall play. And this is the whole deal with being able to get to the whole truth. You've got to get past the actors. It's just the way it is. From the beginning, set up is dead. I mean, you've got to even ask, with 2 continents, because Antarctica is not there. It's fake. As I've said before, it's impossible to have a 24-hour sun when all the south land masses at summer solstice are all getting 7 hours pitch black darkness or more, and they're only a stone's throw from Antarctica, the said Antarctica, and it's impossible for that to happen. So Admiral Byrd, he's a liar. He's a Mason. And so you're left with these extra continents. Without Antarctica, you've only got 6. Greenland doesn't match up to all of our research. So you've really got 2 fake continents. So you've then got to ask, is Jordan Maxwell even dead? I didn't see his body. I mean, I may be wrong. He well may have died. I'm not sure. But I know that you've got to ask the question of many of these actors and different personalities that have been thrust into the limelight, that when they disappear and they say, oh, such and such died in that car crash, and such died on that aeroplane, and such died on that train. Did they? this whole thing is just a Truman Show. It's just the Truman Show. And it's not until you absolutely, wake up that how big a show it is. These guys have built our whole reality, everything. They said, quote unquote, they will make reality fantasy and fantasy reality. And they have. They absolutely have. We've uncovered dual luminaries traversing the flat square earth from east to west in here. That's 2 suns and 2 moons. This is what we've uncovered. We've uncovered hidden continents. Do I like saying any of this? No, I hate it. I wish I never had to. But this is how big the lie is. They lied about everything, and people still find it hard to understand what everything actually means. Everything means everything. I've said it before. Jerusalem, Israel, the stars, the wanderers, everything's been falsified. Everything's been lied about. So Gordon Maxwell, I think he's just part of the plan. He is just part of the plan. He played his part as one of the leaders of the controlled truth. And, Jesuit, and most people don't go there, but Jesuit, when you translate Jesuit, it is Jesus Christ Salvationists. Then you get God, go backwards, it's dog. Then you can go Jesus Christ, the name Jesus Christ, translated is earth dog. But why is it that the Jesuits will call themselves in a translation like that as Jesus Christ Salvationists, when we know that the Jesuits have nothing good in mind? Then yet they want to come across as if they're some sort of guardian angel to Jesus Christ? No. What they're saying is we created it, this fraud, and we're going to guard it, because it's all about creating a wall between you and your spirituality and your electricity, your power that we have in here. It's something that has been a little bit of my pet project in this last 3 months, 4 months. And it's part of why I'm doing these memes, to try and give people a little bit more, obvious understanding of what Enoch's actually trying to tell us. And so I hope that helps, Christina. My opinion is Maxwell is just another player in a massive role. And this is what we've got to understand. Really, our only truths, our real truths, can come from the sun, the moon, the stars. And in my case, I look at Enoch because of chapter 73. We have proven chapter 73 physically, with the moon's jumps 30 degrees every 7 days. It's all to do with the Sabbaths that the Jews have given us, but it's code. So you've got to, and this is why I think, like with Yehoshua, he said, prove all things. We must prove all things. Don't just take in someone's video off YouTube and say, yeah, that's true. Look. I mean, most people believe the sun's smaller when it rises and smaller when it sets, but that's not true. The sun and moon are bigger when they rise and bigger when they set. But if you go to YouTube at all these AE Circle channels, they're all the big channels, because they all link together to give each other subs, increase their ability to control the sheep. See? So it's really important that real truth, you're not going to get big channels. They won't allow it. Most of the time, these bigger channels, they will come on with this big heart-bleeding story about being banned or their channel being censored, and it's all just to sucker people in. And it does. It works. It works. So that's my story there, Christina. There's there's just so many, and I don't want to get into an. If I started calling out names of people that I think are part of the act, then I'd probably be here all night, and I don't want to do that anyway. It's irrelevant. I mean, because once you really get to the Enoch 1 sort of truth of the heavens, then that alone should tell any individual person who's lying. And you should be able to look around then, because the more truth you see, the more liars will appear. And I don't need to call them out, and I don't want to go down that road. I just want to enjoy myself doing what I'm doing now, especially with Mono, with Matt, with the group of magic, awesome people in an environment that's good for us all. So this is why I've put this little group of memes together with Enoch and tried to highlight what he's trying to show us, I believe. Another little thing I want to add is anyone that thinks that there is 13 lunar months in a year, please run 1,000 miles an hour the other direction from anyone that says that, because it's the most absolute ludicrous rubbish you could ever think to hear. There is 12 solid lunar cycles in mankind's year. That's it. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can get around it. That's just how it is physically. And yet, and Enoch describes it beautifully. Previous to the last time they stalled the engine, stopped the sun and the moon. So that's really important that people hear that, because I know there's a prominent guy that loves selling books, and he's running around, because you've got all of this rubbish with Enoch 2 and Enoch 3 and, again, the Qumran caves, and they invent books. They just invent books out of their rear end to just try and keep one Enoch smothered. So I should just shut up a little bit now on that, and let's just get back to these memes, I guess. So I'll let you have a little say now, Mono. I've had my say, mate.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I have not much to say. You did say everything. The only thing what I say before to you, if we all thought that we were on a ball, we cannot even trust ourselves. So we always need to take that with us, that people cannot be trusted. But if you think that way, you can look at to everything that you want to. So if you want to watch Jordan Maxwell or other people, there are some people need to understand. Oh, wait a minute.
No, you're right, mate. You're right. Go for it.
Yeah, people need to understand that they have the scripts already done before. Because if you are one of the guys that speak things that are truth, then they have already a puppet in the background that will take your truth and put a lie in it to
Yep.
lead you away from it, so to say.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Well said.
for example, you have people like Jordan or Max Eigen. That is also
Yeah,
something like
he's a
that.
beauty.
Yeah, and but he do like we need to be sorry for that guys and that kind of thing, and we need to have understanding that they are deceived too, blah blah blah. No, they aren't. They do what they do. You are responsible for what you do, and if you do not right, then you do not right. Yeah, and you know that you do not right because that's how it works. So I think. Yeah. On the other hand, you have MK Ultra and that kind of thing. So
Oh yeah.
maybe
Well,
people
see that
are. Yeah.
Max Egan. I originally there be 3 years ago. He come out of the blocks, and they all work hand in hand. And he tried doing this flight across the Pacific to South America from Sydney. Because they knew that we were coming down, we were starting to uncover the ridiculousness of the Pacific. And he Max Egan actually had to show his colours there. But, to some extent it worked for Control, because now they, most people don't think past and uncover what we have with the suns, of actual physical arrival times between here, east coast of Australia, and when it arrives in, say, east coast America. There's definitely not 18 hours there. We get 6 hours sometimes, depending on the time of year. So, Max Egan, he was another good one. I wanted to mention him before. He's another good one that is, again, look to the sun and the moon and the stars, and that's the only place you can get truth.
Yeah, yeah. So, to add a last thing, the moment one person, and because of all spy on our computers, on our telephones with Prism in the late stage, it says already Prism, you know.
Yeah,
That
yeah, it
kind of thing,
does.
yeah. They know when something go happen. Just a little story. We have the son of our queen, and that was involved in pedophilia. And at once he did get a crash in Austria, and Oostenrijk, so to say. And he is dead because of the snow that fell on him. And the next day he be called in the Belgium government that he was a pedophilia. So they did take him away because they know that it would come up, and they do take him away already. So if he is dead, that's not sure, but they take him away from the stage, you know.
Yep,
And that's
yep.
how they know when you there are a lot of people taken down. You can heal diseases with sound. There is a guy that made a kind of machine or a tool to heal you with sound. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and he is
Yeah.
taken out just like a Tesla and that kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
If people,
Mm-hmm.
if there was also someone that made water burn. You know, you could cook
Yep.
with water, so to say.
Yep.
Yeah, and they take him
He was
down.
a New Zealand guy. Yep.
Yeah, and if you come close to the truth, or you can see pop up Mr. Smith from the
Yeah.
Matrix. Yeah, then a Mr. Smith pop up, and more Mr. Smith. The more you come to the truth, more Mr. Smith pop up. You know, so to
Mm-hmm.
say. But
Yes, I
okay,
agree.
let we go to the books. We are already in half hour on our way, and
Yeah. Well,
let's
let's
go.
just relax and do
Yeah,
what we do, bud.
yeah, yeah. So I will read this, chapter 1, and then we go on. Okay, there we go. The word of the blessing of Enoch. How he blessed the elect and the righteous who were to exist in the time of trouble, rejecting all the wicked and ungodly. Enoch, a righteous man who was with God, answered and spoke while his eyes were open, and while he saw the holy vision in the heavens. This the angel showed me him in this. From them I heard all things and understood what I saw. That which will not take place in this generation, but in a generation which is to succeed a distant period on account of the elect. And that's
All
what's
right.
the text.
Well, the reason I'm putting this together is I think I'm trying to introduce or trying to get some people to think deeper. Enoch worded his words together very carefully. He linked his words together and chose his words very carefully. When he says elect, you've only got to look at our system of governance everywhere, and you've got elections, you've got pre-selection, um, and our governments know. They know. Otherwise, why use these words? That everything is electric, and it's really important that when you read Enoch, that you take your time to feel for any keywords that he uses, because he does. He uses many keywords that have amazing, real spin-off meanings. That if you're going to, and I think the only way that you've got to read Enoch is read it yourself. And as I said before, the R.H. Charles translation, 1883. Is the best that we could find, and we looked hard. Most have been changed radically, and changed in so many ways. I think, as Mono was showing me, the Slovak version has virtually, it's got the calendar as we have it now recorded in it in writing. I can't think of the name. My back's hurting again. But it's absolutely completely wrong. It's completely different to anything that this R.H. Charles has given us. And you can time, you've just got to time the moons. It goes 28, 28, 29, 28, 28, 29, 28, 28, 29. And this is all to one Enoch. So it's really important. See, and then even down the bottom of that meme, where he uses the word generation, and as I was just marking it off, generate. You've got electricity, generate, generations. There's keys in that alone that the righteous and the elect. What do we generate? We're generating electricity, and it's vital that we understand from all teachings what we are in here, I think. And I think that goes a long way to what that word succeed means and how we succeed. It's through succeed is, I was looking at it yesterday, and it's almost like a derivative of supplicate, prayer, meditation, supplicate, succeed. It's almost like a brother and sister word to supplicate. And then you can go to generate, electricity, elect, hidden from the beginning for the end. And for a generation afar off, well, I don't know any book that I know of that has been physically evidenced in this day and age. And I know that Enoch 1 now, chapter 73, is physically evidenced. And I don't know another book. So, and what we've done with understanding his cosmology descriptions puts us in a position, I think, great responsibility, considering the amount of people out there that are trying to corrupt Enoch. Then, it says that there's a lot of what we need to know is in Enoch. A lot of what we need to know to be successful through supplication, acceptance, surrender, listening to our heart. And it's all in Enoch, and I just want this set, and it's funny how that's chapter 1, right there, bam, he's, straight out of the blocks, he's in there with probably some of the most powerful passages anywhere in his book, and it's all in chapter 1. So that's important meme, I think, I really do. I really think that is an important meme. I'll do more. So I won't talk too much on other things that are written in Enoch, because I actually want to do probably, 30, 40 different memes highlighting all different aspects as you go through reading Enoch. Yep, that's it, Mono, on that one, buddy.
Okay, this is the second one. Wisdom, right use, knowledge, selfness, and selfish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let me read it. The elect or selected is also with the same word in it. Selected. You can be
Mm-hmm.
selected for the elect, so to say.
That's right.
The
Yep.
elect shall possess light, joy, and peace, and they shall inherit the earth. But you unholy, shall be accursed. Then shall wisdom be given to the elect. So the wisdom is not even there, but it's coming to the elect, so to say. All of whom shall live and not again to transgress by impiety of pride, but shall humble themselves, possessing prudence, and shall not repeating transgression. They shall not be condemned the whole period of their lives, not die in torment and indignation. But the sum of their days shall be completed, and they shall grow old in peace, while the years of their happiness shall be multiplied with joy and with peace forever the whole duration of their existence. And that is where it's all about.
It is.
So,
Well, this is, again, to me, this is really important because it says there, they shall inherit the earth. Well, everyone, most of the religions have got us flying off earth and we're doing all sorts of funny stuff. No, we inherit the earth. The earth has always been man's. It was given to man. It's always been man's. We've been given dominion in here. That they've taken away from us. And see, this is the whole point, and I've got to try and get this across if I can to people, is why all of these levels of bullshit. There is thousands and thousands of levels of ridiculous rabbit holes, left, right, up, down, rabbit holes going everywhere. They're trying to occupy everyone's mind to the absolute umpth degree. Why? Excuse me. Because the moment that we are able to touch real truth and understanding, which is hidden in Enoch, which actually correlates more with the North American Indians or the South American Indians or the indigenous races, cultures that were all over Earth. They understood more about our power in here than what we do today.
yeah.
And it's really important that Enoch's not owned by any religion. People they are trying their hardest to attach Enoch to Jesus Christ because with the Son of Man. Well, all you've got to do is take a U, take the letter U out and put an O in there, and you've got Son of Man. Well, I'm 100% of the belief. After all of this, where we know the sun's coming from, it's not coming from inside our realm, that it's the sun that is our power. It's our electricity. And it's only using Occam's razor in a lot of ways that 9 times out of 10, wherever you see that U taken out and an O put in for the Son of Man, then it's bull. I've often wondered, and this is controversial, but I think this is why was it that it was a British guy, an English guy, that in the late 1800s, all of a sudden found out that the book of Enoch is in the Ethiopian Bible, and he went racing down to Ethiopia, grabbed a copy of Enoch out of that particular Bible, which is an 89 book Bible, not a 66 book Bible. And I think 89 or 90 is closer to completion because 9 being the creator's number. So he grabs it and he races back to England. And he, all of a sudden, just magically, they've just got printing presses invented. And he pumps out a whole heap of these hundreds of thousands of copies of Enoch. Well, what I think you'll find is, well, may he have been a good-intentioned man. But in a hurry, what I think they've done is they have substituted S-U-N, son, with S-O-N, son, because of the previous 1,000 years work that they put into this Jesus Christ fella, the Son of Man. So what they've done is added that S-O-N into Enoch to then later in our time now to tie Enoch to Jesus Christ, because there is nowhere in Enoch 1, R.H. Charles version, there is nowhere that he says anybody's name to the elected one. All he says is he is concealed. He is hidden from the beginning for the end. Now, this Jesus Christ dude, he's not hidden. He's in everyone's face. I know where I live, in this little town, there's like 10 churches, and they've all got that guy strung up on a cross. So there's nowhere in Enoch that Jesus is mentioned. The only part that they tried to tie it to was the Son of Man. Well, through all our research and knowing where the sun really comes from and how it all works in here, and the ether and electricity, then the sun is our source, not the Son of Man. That's our sun. That's the Son of Man. The Son of Man. Soul of Man. Solomon's key, soul of man's key. And so, it's really important that Enoch doesn't tie to the Bible. It doesn't tie to the Quran. He doesn't tie to anything, any religion. It's really just more a historical book, that one of the only few books that we can actually get our hands on that gives us some sort of, I believe, accurate version of his story. So that's really important. I've wanted to say that for a little while. And if anything, there's a couple of places in Enoch where it's said that Enoch was concealed. And when he asks the archangel, who is that's standing at the right hand of the Most High, with the continence of a man? Well, the continence is spirit of a man. He doesn't say man, a man, one man. He says, who is that standing at the right hand of the host of all spirit? Now, the host of all spirit is the Creator, the Most High, the Great Spirit. And that is electricity. Because even in Enoch, in other places, he says when he's with the angels, the archangels, that they can take on the appearance of a man anytime they like. Other than that, they fade back into electricity. So, there's little hints all through Enoch of what is really going on. And so who is that at the right? It's the continence of a man. He doesn't say a man, a saviour, but he does in a couple of places say the elect one, but never any name. And as far as the Son of Man, that's up in the sky. And, there's not going to be a hell of a lot of us that actually get the full meaning of what's truly going on. But, this meme goes a long way of showing it. There shall given, and I think wisdom's being imparted on us, probably as we're speaking, as we are now. I think a big part of this successful generation is that we've proven physically evidenced Enoch, chapter 73. And, if you really wanted to get down and get serious, we could probably evidence the winds as well. We've witnessed multiple luminaries, like dual luminaries, traveling across the flat earth. So there's another one. I use chapter 73, but there's other physical evidences that we can attribute to the book of Enoch, 1 Enoch. And so that's pretty huge, I think, people. And I think people need to wake up to this, that this is a book that tells us 6,000 years ago that a successful generation, Methuselah, this book is for them. Well, it's never been physically evidenced before now.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was going to apply Occam's razor to this, and that is, what is it, that the most obvious and simple outcome to an observation has to be the truth. Well, we're looking at we're looking down the barrel of some pretty amazing events in the not too distant future. I know, because of the intensity that of my journey, as I've uncovered this, because I've been online arguing with Garcia, with Skiba, with all of them, and giving them this just simple observations of true meaning of words, and they hate me for it. They absolutely. But I think anyone can do this. It's no different than that line, as Mono and I have been through with Job. With who was it that created the channel for the overflowing of the waters? Well, that's another one that no one in the biblical pushing arena will go near, because they don't want you to think about that. Because in their eyes, there's no water overflowing. They don't want you to know that there's channels there and that it's filtering around like a bloody fish tank. you know. So this is an important meme, I think, that you know. I every day sort of think about just being the successful generation, and I ask how, because of the intensity that I've been led to see so much of Enoch. I also take on a certain amount of responsibility with it to keep my focus as best I can on this fact. How it all turns out, I don't know. I just take each day as it comes. So, yeah, that's about the size of it for me. I've got a possum running around the place here.
Yeah.
She's hungry and she's jumping around everywhere. My God. What are you doing, girl? She's only a baby and she's only just been weaned from mum. And she comes in here to get food. Look out. She's up on my flywire door. Anyway.
Yeah.
Right, I keep going, Mono.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to say one thing. We use
Yep.
our brain use only 10-15% maximum of our brain we use, and they say, then shall wisdom be given to the elect, and it need to come from the sun. So the chemtrails and that kind of things are maybe already in place and on forehand for what is coming of what already is going on. And we
Yep.
don't know for sure. Of course, this just is speculation. But the shall wisdom be then shall wisdom be given to the elect. And I don't say that we are the elect, but the elect shall be given wisdom. So maybe because we are electrical, you know. So
Exactly.
maybe just in a speculation, maybe there is something in our body that can be like a knob and or a
Yep.
switch, and it switch over, and we use 30 or 40 or 50% of our brain, you know.
Well, I think that's very well said, mate, and I'm glad you did say that, because I'll be a little bit more forthright than you, and I believe they're blocking the sun 100%.
Yeah, yeah, they do,
Um,
they do, they do.
I'm not,
Yeah,
because that's the pineal. The
yeah,
pineal is, and the pituitary gland are the receivers of the Most High from the ether. And we actually breathe that electricity in,
yeah,
and not only through our eyes, we breathe it in. So I think well done, mate.
yeah,
I'm glad you said that, because it's definitely something that I missed. I should have said.
yeah. Okay, yeah, but we can fill in the small parts. Let's go to the next one. That is chapter
Yep,
10, Enoch 1.
I love that one.
Restore the earth which the angels have corrupted, and announce life to it. Announce life that I may revive it. All the sons of men shall not perish in the consequence of every secret by which the watchers have destroyed and which they have taught their offspring. All the earth has been corrupted by the effects of the teaching of Asaziel. Asaziel. To him,
Azazel.
therefore, ascribe the whole crime. Yeah, so he
Yep.
is the one. And there are more, of course, because they call a lot names, but this is just for now.
Yeah, well, there's 200, I think. Um, Well, I just, again, I love that because when I first read that, and it hit me because they want, through all of these religions, they want everyone to believe that it's all doom, gloom, and it's all finished and done. Nothing good's going to come of it. Well, I'm sorry. Again, Enoch's been evidenced now in some of the most fantastic ways imaginable. Dual luminaries, blah 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 blah. You know, so when they say that in this book, um, it's like I've said. Why would I allow somebody to slowly destroy my paintings? I wouldn't let somebody do that. If I'd given my word that they could stay in the house for X amount of time, okay, now they're going to slowly work at them, but I'm going to kick them out before they get a chance to wreck my painting. Well, it's no different for whoever created this earth. Oh my God, I've got a cat and a possum ready to have a fight. Um, and so I believe we, as it says earlier, that we inherit the earth, we get it back, and it will be replenished, and it will be made right again for us to look after without them here to corrupt it. I think that's really important.
Yeah, that will be the reset, so to say. Yeah, there need to be a reset to start again. Most people will not uh, go with it because there will be a lot of people will be hurt
Mm-hmm.
if the if it hits the fan, so to say.
Well, the reset, and we're going to get to that shortly, but the reset the occult want is a giant wave that hits all the eastern seaboards. They've pre-programmed us in the movies and that for it,
Yeah,
um, and it's all been done before. It's no big deal once you know the Enoch 1 cosmology, and this is one of the reasons why they don't want us here, because once you see it, and you think, oh shit, that's not that hard. Oh my God. Um, but I believe, as I've said in the previous recording, they don't succeed this time. They don't succeed. So that is their reset. And that was the Rainbow Promise. The Rainbow Promise give it to us, that the earth will not be destroyed by water. And I believe that because of the prism, the prison. The prison's been put in place. It's a completely different ball game. And God, Creator, God knows what's going to happen. But it's not going to be as the controllers of this realm at the moment think it is. I am of that faith that when the garbage is taken out, that will then enable what I would consider the gods, because we were created in them, their likeness and image as creators, spirit creators. I mean, it's in Genesis. I mean, how many people are reading it properly? I mean, it's pretty basic to read. And it'll be a wonderful time to be here. And it's one of the reasons why I am so focused and determined, because I do believe 100% that we get this back and the earth, will be fixed for those that have earned the right of courage, of integrity, of heart to live on. I truly believe. Whether we do in this body or not, I don't know. But we definitely have a body, because it's all in Enoch's words. And that we get, he talks about in many places there from the Most High where all of the retrobates and so forth are taken out, but the elect and righteous will be spared any harm. And I say, it's, if nothing else, there's words of wisdom there to encourage us in our journey of truth, real truth, and standing up for what is true. I think, and we get the rewards of seeing our home be repaired by some pretty amazing beings.
yeah,
You know.
yeah, yeah. If we are there when it happens, I don't know if we will reach that time, but I hope.
I
Then, if it reached the time that the children for the future will have a better future than we had without the lies and the betrayal and the poison and yeah,
Yep.
the POS, so to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it is about nothing again in this world. Since we are born, we are lied to, and all is a lie. Only the thing that you did yourself are truth. Your work, what you do, the food that you eat, you know that you did that, but all the rest, all the knowledge on schools, or in other books, on television, in radio, call it on internet also, because on internet, of course, all is also planned and that kind of things, so to say.
Absolutely, mate.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And this is we've said it before. It's a huge thing for people to realize that you go looking around on YouTube. Please, please realize that anybody that is 100,000 plus subscribers, you got to turn your spidey senses on, because they all help each other to gain subs and collect sheep, because this whole game is all about mind control. The whole thing. And this is, I've said it earlier, that why so many lies? Because they are scared, really scared. The most scariest thing to them is that we understand in our heart our true power.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I think. That's what I truly think.
Yeah, for real. All because we have the money system. All people are sellouts
Mm.
because only with money. And I say all people, not all people, but you say 100 subscribers. But if they have 50,000 or 10,000, it can be two. It can be us too, you know. So
Yeah.
it can be everybody. So the only thing you have to do is understand that what you read, what you see. If you see a picture about the shooting in America, don't believe it because you see a picture or
Mm.
or a video with actors and that kind of things. Just think and take the information, but not see it as truth for real,
Mm-hmm.
and find it out
Yep.
yourself more what's told about it. And the other people are debunking things, of course, and also you need to look only at the things they show you, and it's not about the pictures or the videos. It is just about how I say it. The logic things in it, let us say it that way. If it is logical, then it can be closer than the truth than when it is very yeah difficult to understand, so to say. Most
Mm-hmm.
things are just logical. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we go to the next one. This is a little
Yes, mate.
about Avatar, the tree. If I see the tree, I think about the movie Avatar, and that's what people also think. Yeah,
Mm.
most that we talked about, that if you could watch a movie, there is a lot truth in. And I say all that always it is a warning, it is fiction, and it is truth in it. You know, and the
Mm-hmm.
warning is there we go to. And the fiction is, of course, just add up to deceive you. And the truth, you will not see it because you say, no, that is a movie. So,
Oh, well, that's all they use is movies, and I mean, Avatar's a cracker for silica-based life forms,
yeah,
giant trees,
yeah,
and a hijack.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I think there's a hell of a lot more truth in Avatar than most people realise. Because I know with I've got an auntie in Western Australia, and she's a Reiki master. And Reiki is all about the energies and how well all of the energies and connected right throughout Earth and the plants under the ground. And well, there's a lot more truth going on in Avatar than most people are given credit.
Yeah, 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 right. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
chapter 10 and then verse 13 and reaction solution on the top, Enoch 1. And it says, to Gabriel also the Lord say, go to the Bides, or Bides or Bides? Bides, I think.
Bast-
Yeah.
Biters, but they can be also translated as bastards.
Okay, okay. To the reprobates, go the children of fornication. and destroy the children of fornication, the offspring of the watches. From among men bring them forth, and excite them one against another. Let them perish by mutual slaughter, for length of days shall not be theirs. They shall all entreat you, but their fathers shall not obtain their wishes respecting them. For they shall hope for eternal life, and that they may live each other of them 500 years. So that is about live forever, almost, so to say. And
Well,
then,
that's what they wanted. And when I read that, I just let the information flow through me. It's there you go. They often, somewhere in the past, I read and researched that the angels, the fallen angels, and psychopaths in general, I'm sure, they don't have imagination. They do not have imagination. That's why everything down on earth is a counterfeit, because they don't have an imagination of their own. All they're doing is repeating what they already knew. And when I read this and I see where he says, I want you to go and excite them against each other. Well, all that is the prelude to MK Ultra and being controlling the USA against Russia and China, or it's all exciting each other. All they're doing is using the same old playbook over and over and over again, and it's the same playbook that was used on them. They can't think of anything new for themselves. They have to just use what has been used before. They can't think of anything new. So I think it was a really good example of MK Ultra
yeah,
in the book of Enoch. I come across that picture, which I thought was amazing, and it just shows you, the amount of occult art out there. And I mean, there you go. You've got a prism, and the prism is the sky, with the winds blowing around the outside, the cosmic engine. I just couldn't believe that when I seen that picture, and I went, "Oh my God!"
yeah.
So that's the main thing there. I just wanted to show that it's in Enoch. Basically the prelude to MK Ultra and Hegelian dialectics
Yeah,
of
they,
confusing the human mind and creating people. Problem, action, solution. Problem, action, solution. And they're just playing the same old game over and over and over again.
yeah, they use every time the same script, so to say.
Yep.
Yeah,
Over and over
yeah.
again for what? Virtually for 6,000 years so far.
I will read this one. They elevated me aloft they elevated me aloft to heaven. I proceeded until I arrived at a wall built with stones of crystal. A vibrating flame surrounded it, which began to strike me with terror. Into this vibrating flame I entered resonance. I entered, and you say resonance. Yeah? And I drew nigh on a spacious habitation built also with stones of crystal. And that's why what they show, I think, in Superman with the crystal cave. Yeah, you know.
Mm.
Its wall too, as well as the pavement, were formed with stones of crystal, and crystal-like wise was the ground. Its roof had the appearance of agitated stars and flashes of lightning, and among them were cherubim of fire in a stormy sky. A flame burned around its walls, and its portal blazed with fire. When I entered into this dwelling, it was hot and as fire and cold as ice. No trace or delight or of life was there. Terror overwhelmed me, and fearful shaking seized me. Chapter 14. So he drove out men, and he placed at the east of the garden of Eden cherubims, more than one, and the flaming sword which turned every way, kaleidoscope or laser, to keep the way of the tree of life. Cherubim
Yep.
east, south, and go on.
Well, I just think it's amazing there where Enoch very openly says that he went through the sun. Well, the sun's source, when he says vibrating, Well, that's frequency, waves, resonance, and it's like the sun. What we feel here on Earth. I mean, you can look at my painting, the top one, and the ice is on the highest peaks of mountains, yet they're closest to the suns, and the suns are only what do we say, 38,000 feet, 12 kilometers. So if it was an energy that originated from the sun as hot, then the top of mountains would not have snow. It would be on the ground level that has snow. So it's showing us the resonance frequency energy of the wave of the suns as they travel across the earth. And it has to be an interaction between the earth's magnetics, which actually we just had a video loaded on our group this morning. I knew that had something to do with it. There you go. Because it had fire being created from a magnet and electricity. So it's the magnetics of Earth that is creating the heat. You could go up and probably touch the sun, and it wouldn't. You would feel no heat. There'd be no heat if you could get there because it's holographic. Holographic. So I just think it's amazing that there in Genesis, where it's said that mankind was booted out of the Garden of Eden, and there was a sword turning all directions, a flaming sword that was put there to guard the way to the tree of life. And I've always looked at that and I knew it was something. Two cherubim, I'd done some research on them about 2 years ago and we uncovered it all. Well, they're basically flaming, fire balls, cherubim, which is why I put cherubim east, two cherubim at the east. And that's where the suns come in, or where they're formed every day, every pass. So I think it's all pretty self-explanatory, really. And again, it's not like that Enoch is depending on the Bible to witness him. I personally think Enoch is a stronger book than the Bible because, as I say, we've got multiple witnesses to Enoch. When really... what have we got to the Bible? They've got their flat earth descriptions in the Bible, but what descriptions can we say that we've evidenced? They want to use a dome, which is it's not doable because there's no south star spin on a dome. There's no center north like they want, so what are you left with?
Yeah, for real, there is a dome, but it is outside the prism.
That's right.
If you see it that way, yeah. So you say also above the circle of the Earth is also true because it have a convex length. So that's the
Yeah,
circle.
it's all it is just how the azimuthal equidistant control lie has manipulated words again. That's all.
Yeah,
There
but
is, there is a dome, but it's
yeah.
not a dome that's directly above the Earth.
No, but
It's fully surrounding the whole realm.
but you say it already. It is from the verdict, and that is what they taken for the dome and the round Earth, of course. But that was already that was already the psyop. That was what you say from
Yeah,
square
yeah.
to dome, round Earth to the ball. So it was a step in between. So I think that some people think they are right and not specially lying, but I also
No,
am sure that there are liars in between it because I did see already people listen. If I think that people are lying, will I go to, as I say before, to a conference with them? I don't, because I will be involved with the liars, so to say. So
exactly.
then you should not go. You should be
No.
stand right up and say I don't go because he is not a real truth man. Yeah, and if you work with a not truth man, you are you are into it. And that doesn't mean that you're into it, but
No.
you will cause that you are into it. Yeah, you make yourself suspicious, so to
Well,
say.
we have a saying down here in Aussie that roll with dogs, you'll catch fleas.
Yeah, yes, that's what I mean, exactly. Okay, let's
All
go
right.
to the next one.
Good on you,
Um,
mate.
let's go on. They carried me to a lofty spot, to a mountain, the top which reached the heaven, and I beheld the nay, receptacles, uh,
Receptacles.
receptacles, yeah, of light and the thunder of extremities of the place, where it was the deepest. There was a bow of fire and arrows in the quiver, a sword of fire, and every species of lightning. Then they elevated me to the babbling stream and, and to a fire in the west, which received all the settings of the sun. In, I came to a river of fire which flowed like water and emptied itself into the great sea westward, Hawaii.
Well, that I think again is showing you, and I believe so easily, that the sun's wave as it travels across the earth is resonance energy. Because the moment we're out here, out from me and the Solomon Islands, it ascends to a level, but out near Hawaii, it descends to a level before it's chambered to be put out. And what happens when it lowers? Well, its resonance energy increases, and this is why they get so much lava in Hawaii. And I think it's really, really self-explanatory. What was that yellow writing there? Can you just blow that up
Yeah,
for me?
yeah, yeah. There was a bow of fire
Ah,
and arrows
yes.
into the quiver. Or
Well,
quiver.
when I seen that, I mean, that straight away reminded me of Hunger Games and all of the symbology that I've mentioned around the earth with bows and arrows everywhere in ancient occult art and everywhere. Bows and arrows. And there it is written in Enoch. And it's all to do with the sun, basically. And this is why I say it's to do with the attack on the sun's tower, because it's to do with bows and arrows. And there's your, in Enoch, there he is wording it for people to see. I think that's bloody amazing, you know.
Yeah.
Westwards, Hawaii. Hawaii, I think, is dead right on the equator because, as I've said before, you've got the cyclones and hurricanes, but they always from the equator. They always drift away from the equator, and that puts Hawaii, I believe, right on equity because they never have had one reported hurricane make landfall. They've had tropical storms, but never like tropical lows, but they've never had a swirling hurricane make landfall. They report them out in the open ocean, but magically they never ever make landfall before being downgraded to just a tropical storm. Now, I believe in the last 2-3 years, you'll probably find that they're starting to fudge information on the internet because Don, myself, and Tyson, we were bringing this out. Be 2 years ago now, 2.5 years ago. We were pushing hard about just how ridiculous it is with Hawaii and its positioning and cyclones and you know. So I think that's a powerful another bit of text in Enoch that I'm hoping that people see it and go, wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Let me go to the next one. It's a very big one. Okay, I will read it again. I saw I saw every large river until I arrived at the darkness at the great darkness. I went to where all of the flesh migrate, and I beheld the mountains of the gloom which constitutes winter, and the place from which issues the water in every abyss. I saw also mouths of all the rivers in the world, and the mouths of the deep. Chapter 18. I then survived the repticles of all the range, perceiving that they contributed to adorn the whole creation and to preserve the foundation of the earth. I surveyed the stone which supports the corner of the earth. I also beheld the four winds which bear up the earth and the firmament of the heaven, and I beheld the winds occupying the exalted sky. Four corners, four sides, four wings, mountains, north winds within the exalted sky. And there we go again.
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot in that one, like you just said, Mono. There is a lot in that one. Um, but I looked at my painting. I couldn't think of a picture that I could put up, so I looked at my painting and I thought, that's what I'll do, because you've got the four corners, you've got the mountains along the top where winter comes from. Along the top of Russia, Northern Europe, Canada. Um, You've got the four winds outside, which hold the above, so below, that hold the prism above them and so below, hold it up and create this cosmic engine that, like a giant big gyroscope. And then you've got the winds inside, which hold up the exalted sky, where you can see I've got the names there on a couple of the luminaries, sort of thing, where they're projected in and land on a magnetic level. And so, I've got all the winds color coded there on my painting, as Enoch describes them. And so, there's a lot there. Underneath us, the four corners of the prism below us is your four, what are the foundations? The four foundations are the corners of the prism below us. It's amazing. I consider it's a bloody amazing that really this whole Enoch 1 journey, there's nothing that can't be answered with logical common sense. People will notice on my painting that your east and west sides, I've put them as molten lava there. Because, again, like I say earlier, where the sun ascends or descends to create or to be put out, it's going to be lower, and this is what your Pacific Rim is, or the Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire really should be broken in half because there's no Pacific. And so this is why you've got what the occult call the rim. East and west is called the rim, and the north and south are called the edges. This is what they call them. That's why you had the movie Pacific Rim, and Pacific Rim was over my side of the flat square earth. It was Sydney, Hong Kong, Japan, where then you go to the movie Battleship, and it had the Rim Pack Games, which was Hawaii, where it was on the western side. So, again, like Mono said before, they tell us truth and that in movies. We've just got to, the more we become aware and understand the language of symbology, then the more truth starts to flow through us, and we see more and more very easily.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I go to the last one for now. That
Okay,
is,
mate.
let me see. To the east of this beast I perceived the extremities of the earth, where the heavens ceased, the gates of the heavens stood open, and I beheld the celestial stars come forth. I numbered them as they proceeded out of the gate, and wrote them all down, as they came out, one by one, according to their number. I wrote down their names altogether, their times, and their seasons, as the angel Uriel, who was with me, pointed them out to me. He showed them all of me. No, he showed them all to me and wrote down an account of them. He also wrote down for me their names, their regulations, and their operations. And it says here components Enoch gates. And definition, a component that allows current flow in one direction and not the other. Purpose, an electric gate. Let's light purpose, an electric gate. LEDs, light emitting diodes, emit light when current flows in the proper direction. Water analogy, spring-loaded gate in a pipe. Uh, Window at certain seasons grow extremely hot. So also are the gates from which the stars go forth as they are commanded, and in which they set according to their number. and star place in the celestial sphere smart glass. And
Yeah, well, that is a classic video, that one that I took that screenshot of, because I'm of the 100% view that we have the stars that are placed in the celestial sphere that do not go all around the world. They, it's a program, because you've got dual luminaries traveling east to west. That's 1, 2 of the sun, 1, 2 of the moon at any time. Then you've also got two sets of stars, people. There's no if, buts, or maybes. You can't get around it. One leads to the other. And how is that possible then that we have two sets of stars? Well, it's because it's a program. You've got, and when you look at that star, and there's others, they're not free-flowing orbs of electromagnetic energy. They are placed in the firmament, as it says. They were placed in the firmament, the celestial sphere. And then as you read Enoch, and there's more references to it, that everything starts, especially the stars, right along both the rims or on those outer edges of the celestial sphere. They rise and start their journey by the number. Now, number is matrix material. It's digital. It's digital. And that's why I added that, and Enoch's gates, because what we've got to understand is just really how absolutely electrical this realm is. And it's part of what we've got to understand, and that wisdom that it needs to increase for us. And the only ones that go all around the world are the moons and the wandering stars. And you've got a square Earth inside a circle, inside the circle of the Earth's sphere, and you've got a square Earth on the east and west edge. You've got the room for the revolving, where the tracks are, where the gates are. So you've got the room there for the revolving of the moons generating, and you've got the room there for the electromagnetic wanderers, yes, to lead the moon. They're the selectors of the gearbox, of the cosmic gearbox. The wanderers, the planets, as they want to call them, are the leaders of the electromagnetic gearbox of the moons. So it's really important that I had a little music box here somewhere that I think I was sitting here one day, and it's really simple, but it shows you really, it's like girls have their music boxes, their jewelry boxes, and when you wind them up, they play a tune like Beethoven or something like Beethoven, and it may have worn out. And it's all run by springs, and as this scroll turns, that spring, you wind it up, and this scroll turns with little dobs of metal on there, and they hit little metal sprung musical instruments, ding, 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 and it's all by the number on this scroll. It's like the first original program, basically, of the stars, and the stars all run by the number as they originate perfectly.
This one.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Well done. Well done, Mono. And that's what we're looking at. That's like an original of the stars, except that the stars are digital. And they all come up by the number. And it's like it says in Enoch, where that the stars will, any stars that transgress their way are put in jail, basically. It sounds really bad, but All it is the program has malfunctioned. It's got a virus. So the stars that malfunction have to be put away. They have to be put away because what happens? Do they electromagnetically, do they infect the stars next to them and create a bit of a nightmare if they're allowed to just keep going and keep going and keep going? So no, they're taken out of the program, put away until, as it says in Enoch, until the great work is done. When this age is over, then it all starts again, because as it says, we'll be getting a new heaven and we get new stars. You know, they're all the Matrix is a lot realer than people bloody realise, and it's not that big a deal for us to actually prove it.
Yeah,
You
you
know?
have also from the street musicians, and that they have also a kind of machine with them, and that are with a big paper music charts, so to say, and there are
Mm-hmm.
holes in it, you know, and
Ah, yes, yes,
they
yes,
turn then, and then they are
exactly.
through the
Yep,
street. That's
yep,
also a kind of that kind of
same
things.
thing,
Yeah,
same thing.
yeah,
And it says it in that book of Revelations, but the sky will roll up like a scroll.
yeah.
Um, and yet, we watch a lot of our time lapses that the guys are getting in the group and that. And geez, man, when you're looking at that moon and the stars are all traveling exactly the same time, there's only one thing that pops into my mind, and that's scroll. It looks like a scroll, just winding over like a scroll. And yeah, pretty amazing, eh?
Yeah, yeah. And they talk about in science about black holes, and the black hole is just the part where the electricity divided to. Because I want to show this is the last
Yes,
one
mate.
from this one. I want to show you one last picture, and here you can
Ah,
see the
yeah,
same. Yeah, this is a
yeah.
little. This is from the electrical magnetic force that it is a black hole. This is
Well,
the
that's
black
two.
hole.
Yeah, well, that's just two electromagnet. That's two magnets,
Yeah,
and this is what happens with a magnet. See,
yeah, yeah.
and then it's in Psalm 19 of the Bible where it says that basically the stars will talk to our heart. So it's all electromagnetics.
Yeah, yeah,
So that was well brought up,
yeah,
Mono. Well
yeah,
done.
yeah,
And while we've just got that one on the screen, I just want people and realise, we've talked about eclipses not being a natural thing. They're not. They're man-made from the people that don't want any good thing to happen on Earth. They don't care because they can't be caught for what they've done, so they don't care the extent that they go to. And if they've got the technologies, which, we can see nowadays with all of these fires, because, I mean, these fires are just crazy how
yeah,
fake they are.
yeah,
I mean, they're melting cars, but there's a tree about 2 meters away that's still green. That's crazy. That's just insane. So, they've got the technology with lasers to do that.
yeah,
So people, of course, they've got the technology to bloody attack the sun, you know? It's just, of course they have.
yeah,
And we need to wake up to that. What is the result of waking up to that? I don't know. But I know it's the truth. So we've got to keep going on that direction.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, people can do a laser on their own skin and they will see what happened.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, not too good.
No, of course, and that's why they warn for your eyes to burn, because they burn if you shine into someone's eyes, so to
Yep,
say. And
yep.
this is more power than we understand
Oh,
what they
shit,
have.
yeah.
And it can
Oh,
just be
yeah.
on a helicopter, it can be on a plane, it can be from everything they have, because they are 100 years, if it not more,
Yeah.
forward of what we know. If we get
Mm-mm.
something like uh, 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 paint or all that kind of problem, they use it already for 30, 40 years, and then they give
Yeah.
it to us because they can make money and they can invent better, for themselves, of
Yeah,
course.
I know. And I mean, they said it at that Zionist convention that by the time we wake up, that they need to be so far technologically advanced by that time that even if we woke up en masse, in their view, we don't stand a chance.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was their words.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, and it will be
And
if the people wake up and they understand. George Bush did say it already. If they he was on a show and he say if the people know what we did, they will chase us around the street and hang us, so to
yep,
say. And people
well, yep,
don't understand that he did speak truth there.
yeah, that's right. They did. They certainly did. But
Yeah,
in my own view, though, and personally, I think this is why it's been such a journey for me and a determination for me, is that it is vital that Enoch 1, the book and the cosmology, um, is to be sought sought after, to seek the truth, because I mean, all I could ever have was the words echo in my mind. This, love the truth with all thine heart, and the truth will set you free. Well, I don't know how it sets us free, but all I've ever known is we need to find it. And that is the first thing we have to do. What happens from there, I don't know. I think that well may it be just finding the truth to a level that may, I don't know, may notify somebody that say, hey, come and give us a hand. We could do some help now, you know.
yeah, yeah. And people need to understand. You say set you free, but this also be said that we go to a time of big trouble, and see the truth is also having big trouble because you need to go through the
Yeah.
stages of big trouble because your mind
Mm,
will be crashed or how you will
yeah.
call it, yeah. And that can also be so that the big trouble is in your mind, not especially on earth itself, but in your mind because you need to think about that all is a lie, and that's not
Mm,
easy for people. That
no.
most people think that all they know is knowledge, you know,
Mm.
and for real, it's not, of course.
Well, I've been through that exactly, and I'm sure you have too, Mona. But I've been through that personally. Through this journey, you know, it's been troubling.
Yeah,
I consider myself very lucky now. I can feel that I've come through some major growth periods, because I think, I had to deprogram, and the new program, especially when like you're sitting at the front of this Enoch 1 cosmology, the new program is not the same as the old one. And so I've had to reframe my reality, if you like, in my core.
yeah,
And it's been very troubling for me.
yeah, yeah,
But I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky that I truly believe that I'm virtually through there now. And I feel a lot more peace now. And yeah, I'm just very bloody lucky. Very bloody lucky. I can imagine. Sometimes it actually makes me feel guilty that um, I I want to wake people up, if you like. I want to make people aware. Uh, but then at other times I think to myself, but I'm going to hurt them
yeah,
by
yeah, yeah. That's
by making people aware of the real truth.
yeah,
It hurts. It
yeah.
bloody, and I don't like that. I don't like being the arbiter of somebody's pain. But I don't have a choice either. You know.
No, no, I have to exactly the same thing because I don't like to hurt people in a way with telling them they are lied to, and yeah, but it is also I tell people just like things a lot about fluoride. Yeah, that is a simple
Mm,
thing, but also
mm,
that already people how they react. But you need to cut off the feeling ashamed or feeling. Yeah, that you don't want to hurt them, dus so but you need to. it is your
Yeah. Yeah.
it's your duty, you know.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Mhm.
it's not fun. It's not that you slap them on the face. You will not take them
Mhm.
out. You will not slap them knock out or something, but it will hurt. And yeah, I
Mm.
am an empath, if you say it that way. But I need to close that part when I tell the people because otherwise they don't know. In the Netherlands we have a saying, and I don't know how to say it in English, but we say tell it to everybody, just like in the war, you know, when you are in war,
Yep.
say it forward, say it forward, like something like that. So you need to say it forward or tell it forward to the people, and
Just
otherwise,
call it as it is.
yeah, because you are also guilty if you do not tell them.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
why you didn't tell them? Tell me why you
Y-
did. Yeah, I
y-
did tell you.
If you want to, if I want to say to somebody online or here, I love the truth. I love the truth. Well, then the truth is, I need to tell you too.
Yeah, and it hurts.
I I have a responsibility. Once I know something, then I have a responsibility to share it.
Yeah,
Um, and if you don't like it, I'm sorry. But somewhere down the track, in a year, 2 years, 10 years, those words that I may have mentioned to you here today that you didn't like, you're going to remember one day because of a situation that occurs,
yeah,
and it well may save your life,
yeah,
all because I upset you here today.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Right, exactly.
And I think that's where our responsibility comes into
Yeah,
play.
yeah. It's
You know,
all double. It's all double. So I
you,
wanna keep it with
you go.
this, and I think we are in the end for this part.
Yep.
Uh, So I want to thank you again for your words, Sam, and for your time, of course, and that you
Oh, look,
explained everything in a way how you see it, and that's a good thing, I
it's
think. And
It's my pleasure, Mono. I want to thank you, my friend. I really do. I'm
welcome.
sorry to people. My neck is really bloody sore. It's like somebody's jabbing a knife in there. So I'm sorry for my agitation and sometimes where I lost a little bit of chain of thought. But I thank you very much, Mono, and I thank anybody that ever hits the play button. Thank you for paying us the decency of time to listen to us. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, I will leave it at that. So everybody, thank you for watching, and I will say again, peace in the
Peace.
world. Bye bye.
Bye bye, everybody.